Namaste. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am representing Kalmyk Institute of Humanities, Russian Academy of Science. I am the head of Dzhugariya Museum of Kalmyk Traditional Culture. In our museum, we have a collection of Kalmyk Buddhist painting and sculpture. The theme of my report is nature and culture, the ecological aspect of Buddhist iconography. Cult art of Mongolian folks of the Central Asia was formed in the course of Buddhist fine art canon. Kalmyk ethnic community and their culture developed by the influence of folklore in the steppes of the Caspian inland, lowland of Russia. The oirats in the beginning of the 17th century had left Dzhugariya, the northwest region of Mongolia. Buddhism as the official religion was adopted in 1640, which was associated with the activities of the preacher, the Pandita, educated in Tibet and created the Oirat Kalmyk script, Todobichik. Buddhism as the originality of the nation's historical fortune determined the ethnic peculiarities of its culture. The Kalmyk cult art distinctive feature from culture of other Mongolian nationalities. It was caused by the isolation of oirats from the rest Mongolian ethnos. Old Kalmyk art represents organic receivership of artistic traditions and wholeness of the traditional culture of folklore. Buddhist iconography in interpreting of Mongolian nomads is syncretic. It represents the further development of ancient Buddhist cultural traditions of Tibet. In Buddhist iconography, the system of strict rules of presentation of Buddhist pantheon images has been developed for centuries. Buddhist art has a symbolic character. The canonical work of art is a religious and mythological symbol. Such is a compositional scheme, which is a schematic picture of the world with a distinctive division into upper, middle, and lower parts. Old Kalmyk painting is characterized by a clear symmetry. The symmetrical structure of the icon includes the concept of the center and the central vertical, denoting an axis of symmetry. The static balance shows us the images of sitting or standing Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, enlightened characters of the Buddhist pantheon. Discovery of the truth of Buddhist doctrine is embodied in the harmonized canon of the composition, absolutely balanced and symmetrical. The world tree connects the upper and lower worlds with the fixation on the middle layer, where the central image is placed. Around him, the minor characters are portrayed. The idea of vertical organization of being is represented as axial branching from the trunk and root, also having a horizontal division. The icon painting composition Dzogchen Dzogchen depicts as a religious reformer Dzongkhapa at the head of the pantheon, with other characters placed by layers on the crown of a huge tree. It is rooted in the ocean of the universe, and the top reaches the celestial sphere. The icon painting composition includes images of the moon and the sun, reminding of the ancient deer stones of Mongolia. The natural landscape is organically included in the composition. In the pantheon of Northern Buddhism, there are a lot of characters perceived from the pre-Buddhist beliefs of people of Tibet and Mongolia. The pantheon of Mongolian-speaking Kalmyks is determined by the history and special aspects of religion existence. The adoption of pre-Buddhist cults was reflected in the emergence of a number of local characters in the pantheon of Buddhist mythology. In the classification by Getty, these images are allocated in the group of the secondary characters. The scholars describes them as local gods and lists them among the gods of health, land, home, patrons of the mountains. These sacred images of Mongols are drawn from shamanic and pre-shamanic cults of nature. Among the images of landscape patrons, the image of the white old man, in Kalmyk Tsagan Övgün, Tsagan Ave, or Tsagan Avga, occupies a special place. He is the god of the life and longevity, the welfare of all living creatures. In the iconography of landscape deities, there are several artistic traditions. The influence of mythology and the fine arts of China is found in the image of the white old sitting like Chinese show scene under a peach tree, holding a stick and the book of fate. In the upper left corner of the icon, this is an image of Buddha. This iconographic image variant is widespread in the religious art of Mongols, Buryats, and Kalmyks. Unique cultural world of Mongolian peoples is an interconnected system of views of harmony of nature and person. Kalmyk art offers another tradition of landscape images of the deity. Frontal and strictly symmetrical image in a full length has a distinguishing expressiveness. Here you can see a deity with a rigid face, a high hairdo of white hair. He is wearing a loose robe and Mongolian pointy boots on his feet. He is holding a stick with a dragon's head on the top in his right hand and prayer beads in his left hand. At the background, there are hills covered with sparse vegetation and the water flower at the old man's feet. The landscape is realistic in this simplicity and importance of the sacred image. This frontal and symmetrical composition emphasizes the monumental character of the image. We can see Lord of Land. In Kalmyk, Gazrinezin, patron of the year. In Kalmyk, Jilinezin, and Old Lord. In Kalmyk, Kökshin Bogdo. And finally, the white old men of the universe, Delkan Tsaganögen in Kalmyk. The ancestral origins of this Kalmyk image ensures his extraordinary popularity in national culture. Good wishes of white old men increase cattle, contribute to the prosperity of the land, grant children. When he turns away, the cattle die, harvest failure happens, pastures degenerate, diseases and death spread. White old man, Tsaganov Ave, is worshipped as the patron of the year. In Kalmyk Jelinism, the winter solstice is considered as the day of his nomadic migrations in the national calendar. In conclusion, I would like to say that abstract concept of the universe acquired a visible human image in the iconography. The simplicity, monumentality, conciseness and the polysymeticism of the image of Lord of the Earth is considered as the result of the process of generalization of the historical experience of Kalmyks in cult of nature. Ethnic peculiarities of iconography are determined by natural landscape and the influence of the traditional world perception on the iconographic canon in the composition, in color, and details of depiction of local characters in Kalmyk Buddhist pantheon. The anthropomorphic image of the standing Kalmyk white old man connects the earth and the sky like the world tree. The archaic iconography of white old men expresses the ecological aspect of the relationship between nature and man, nature and culture, so actual nowadays. Thank you for your attention.